Hello, everybody. So I couldn't finish out this day without being a Seven of Diamonds and talking about the Seven of Diamonds. So, sorry, my sweater is a very drab color. Um, so I did a video earlier. Usually I ask the question, what was the general energy of today? And that's where I began, like, to sort of figure out what's in the field and what's available and what is the teaching, I guess. And so you got to start somewhere. It's different for everybody. The Seven of Diamonds is going to show you, oh my gosh, a number of things. It's all about attachments. And I made a video on my other channel about getting triggered and then the steps of healing. So a trigger is when you have an over-the-top emotional response to something, and you're way more upset than the situation warrants. That's a trigger. And the first lesson is to be aware of when you're triggered. And that awareness is literally getting you halfway there. Because a lot of good things just naturally unfold from that awareness. Like a lot of questions. Why am I triggered? What am I really triggered about? What does this go back to? How can I heal? How can I take responsibility for that healing? Googling my name. I don't know how to put links in my description and stuff like that, but if somebody else wants to do that, put it in the comments, feel free. So what can we, hey there, maybe we're going to get a lot of Seven of Diamonds in here today. How's it going, Miss Dell? I'm always curious about what, like if the day is your card, but it's not your birthday. I've always kind of had a theory that the planetary ruler of that card of that birthday, that's really going to be what's up. But now that I'm doing ascension, kind of weird. Not surprised. That's kind of the definition of our card, right? Kind of weird. If we go up, what's the Venus card? It's the Ace of Spades. So the lessons today as a Seven of Diamonds will be around what are your attachments around money, around value, bringing in issues of the need to forgive, be present in your body. The Jack of Hearts is going to be about really expanding your capacity to love. And man, if you got triggered today, the expansion is around loving yourself. And then the Ace of Spades up top going the other direction is really about defining yourself, having a very clear and boundaried sense of yourself versus other people. And, yesterday being the Eight of Diamonds, there's definitely a connection. The Eight of Diamonds was, it was a really rough day. So I went to the river, and this one moment will stand out for the rest of my life. Picked a blade of green grass, tall, green, fat grass to put in my book that I was reading. And I said, I believe in God. I believe in God. I am not going to apologize for it or edit myself or try to use another word or da 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 da. I believe in God. I believe. I do. I do. And I think of that guy in Nacho Libre going, I believe in science. I believe in science. Yes, I do too, but I also believe in God. And so yesterday was like this Eight of Diamonds power, claiming it. I'm claiming this conviction. And so then that feeds into today. The Ace of Spades is about defining yourself. That would be the Ascension planetary ruler. You're like, what? It would have a different planetary ruler? Just consider the possibility that if you went to the right and up and, Mercury, Venus, and just kind of try it out and say, did my experience line up with this today? Maybe I'm working the descension hand. I don't know. So forgiveness, Seven of Hearts is going to be a theme no matter what direction we go in. So opportunities to forgive and stuff like that. I did the Francis Bacon code for the name that equals a card. and mine was an ace of spades. Oh my God, the Francis Bacon code. I know nothing about this. Gosh, I wish I could just bring you on and have you talk about that. I guess I could look it up. The Francis Bacon code. And it relates to the card system in particular, which is interesting. So, yeah, the ace of spades. Yeah, the hour of my birth is the queen of clubs. It's interesting when you get a different significator and you're like, oh, maybe how would this fit if I were this card? And if you're deep into the cards like I am, it kind of gives you a little distance from the whole thing, which is very good. With any system, it's really, really important to understand that it's just a map for this journey. You're a soul, you're an eternal soul, and you decided to inhabit this way with these particularities for the lessons that it affords you. So what's the deal about being a seven of diamonds? If you've been doing your work, you might be able to have this experience that I had today. So I spent a lot of time being very, very worried about money. And now my money situation and how I feel about myself are two separate things, more often than not. So I went to the grocery store today. I happen to be at a low ebb financially, and I am not worried. And that's the amazing thing, is I'm just like, I've been through this enough that it's just like, whatever. Oh, that would be so much fun. So if I just Google Francis Bacon code for the name that equals a card. Oh, so you add up the numbers in your name. So do the numbers in your name come to 40? That's interesting. And then if it's over 52, you just subtract 52. Is that how it works? Hi, Rikara. You're broke as a joke. Okay. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so if anyone's like money issues are coming up today or a sense of what value am I to the world? I feel so weird. I feel so strange. You're just having a seven of diamonds experience. So if you've done your work, you can separate those two experiences. What's in your bank account doesn't cause you to feel this or that. And so, yeah, my card got declined. I was it was $140 worth of groceries, and what was really strange is I'm in this place emotionally where, yeah, I know I'm just, I'm tapped out on my line of credit, and I'm just, I'm broke. And let's see, it's really 52 cards, 26 caps, 26 lowercase. Oh, okay. I will have to try to plug that in. Lowercase first, little a equals 1, big A equals 27. Which is interesting because the ace of diamonds is card number 27. Isn't that weird? Okay, so yeah, so I got to the store and I said yes, when you're hungry and you go to the grocery store and you have a lot of money, that feeling of just like, oh, I'm gonna get this and I'm gonna get that. And, oh, I love that shampoo and I'm gonna get that. And oh, I've always wanted that kind of mouthwash. And today was that day for me. I still feel really good about it. And I had to call my husband and say, I'm freaking out a little. Can you send me some money? Can I pay for this? Can I have you pay for this over the phone? And the people there, they know us and they're really nice. And I did get triggered and I was a little freaked out and I was like, I can handle this. And usually I don't have that shame thing, but my face was starting to heat up and I was like, I know nobody's looking at me. This happens to people. And then it all worked out. And then I was like, am I uptight about this? Do I feel shame? Do I feel wounded? And I was like, bring it on. Bring it on. What am I telling myself? I am such a loser. And my guide's like, no, just go back to that Elon Musk video you were watching. You don't need to go there. You don't need to dig around in your triggers today and find out and so I forgot about it. It was such a non, okay. Artist, hi, you're the seven of diamonds too. Okay, so yeah, Mistel, answer that question. So is 27, does that represent capital A? And wait a second. Um, oh, because 52. Okay, 26 letters. Right. Okay, so 27 would be capital A, 28 would be capital B. I dreamt my sister had problems with her credit card just like that last. Oh, that's crazy. Maybe it was me. Maybe like I'm your sister in a past life. I don't know. Yeah. And so I just kept listening to my Elon Musk video, and it was a TED Talk interview from just like a couple weeks ago. And he's like, "So I hear that you're considering buying Twitter. Tell us about all that." And it was fascinating. It was really, really fascinating. And I was like, okay, I'm getting juiced up to do my Elon Musk decode. Because I watched the Netflix show. I took copious notes on him being the two of clubs. It's very interesting how he deals. Okay, thank you, Miss Dell. It's very interesting how he deals with conflict. No, no, no. That's so weird. I said that. I didn't mean that at all. I have to write that down. Elon Musk and conflict. I will study that because the two of clubs is the argument card, right? So he's had a shit show personal life. I feel really sorry for him. He's got Asperger's. I mean, that can't be easy to try to navigate relationship, and he's finally did find somebody, had two kids with her, and her name, the Grimes, she goes by Grimes, and she's like she's such a Uranus. I haven't looked up her birthday. Well, I did. I don't remember it, but she's just like, yeah, it's the love of my life, whatever. And he found a Uranus type person who's just like, I love him, but I don't have any attachment to what our relationship is going to look like. Anyway, what's fascinating is how he deals with the seven of spades. He looks forward to and anticipates failure because now his objective is not as much. This was with the whole rocket thing, SpaceX, all the failures and stuff, because his objective shifted from having it work perfectly to learning something. And I think that, if we sevens are so addicted to perfection, they're afraid to show up and fail. They're afraid to show up and have it be just a little bit off. They're afraid to, speak out, show up, become visible in a lot of ways because of this, demon of perfectionism. And it's their job. Perfecting is their job. And if you can put yourself in the grid a little bit more of, I am in a perfecting process, then you don't have to feel quite so, attached to doing it perfectly. And don't you love the stories the most where people screw up and where they just have desperate problems? There was this book called Manhole, like a manhole cover, but this woman was a manhole. And I think she had something quite serious, like, I'm not sure if it was borderline personality, it might have been, but she wrote about her shit show life with men. And I'm telling you, it was a shit show, and I couldn't put the thing down. And I think it's because we really, really relate to failure so much more than we do with perfection. And I think that's something that people around us are made uncomfortable by, is our perfectionism. And there's this feeling like we're going to be critical, like we are putting them through a sifter. I just know this is hitting home. I can feel it. It's so funny because, like, when I'm around a seven, especially a seven of diamonds, I'm like they get on their campaign trail, they get on their soapbox, they get on whatever cause or conviction they've got, and I'm like, whoa, slow down there, sister. Depending on how like extroverted they are, they'll just like go off on this, this crusade. They have a crusade. All sevens have a crusade of some kind, even the quiet ones. So the crusade and the perfectionism, those are two common archetypes with the seven. I sort of conjoined those and they're different. Sorry, it was my ADD. The crusade, and I was saying what makes people uncomfortable around us. One is the crusade conviction belief thing, and but the Jack of Hearts really it does redeem us in relationship because there is a sense of humor. The Jack of Hearts is the most tender-hearted and the most serious, but but they are playful. It represents a child. So there was this little girl in the grocery store today. I think this story is so important, and I can't even tell you exactly why, but there I was in the grocery store, and I kept running into this little girl and her mother, and she had this sparkly dress on. And I never wear dresses. And I'm just like, woo, I got my play dress on. And I know it's kind of because of an inner child thing that I put on a dress today, a play dress. And so I see her and I was like, "Yeah, Mr. Bubble marketing, right?" Because the mom was like, "Why does it have that big pink bubble on it and with that face?" And and her mom goes, "That makes people wanna buy it. It makes kids wanna buy it." And I look at her and I go, "Yeah, I remember Mr. Bubble and marketing, right?" And so then I look at the little girl and I go, "That was a cool dress." I said, "I'm wearing a dress too." And then I said, "It's really sparkly." And I said, "When you spin around, does it go out?" And so I spun around and then she spun around. I was like, "That's cool." And then that was it. And then after I checked out and this man is like, your card was declined. Do you wanna try it again?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna go there again." And this little girl was beaming at me, and she was probably like 5, and of course, she had no idea my card had been declined. There was no disapproval there, and she was just beaming at me, and it was like God saying, "Your little inner child just loves you, even if your card got declined." And really, after about 10 minutes, I found my way back to joy. Really? He thinks he's funny? That's such a great way to put that. He thinks he's funny. Okay, let me ask you this, 7 of diamonds. Do you think you're funny? And do you laugh at yourself when you're alone quite often? I do. I do. When my heart is open and I'm not hating on myself, I do think I'm really funny. And I don't care if other people think I'm funny or not. Anyway, God, that's hilarious. I kind of wonder if May, the whole sign of Taurus, we are going to be impacted by Jack of Hearts, a 7 of diamonds, because like if you take your card and you go, what sign are we in? And then look at that card in your hand. So would like the whole month, yeah. Is that why I think I'm funny? Because I'm a Leo. Well, and the child thing, yes, of course, of course. You're funnier alone. Yeah. Oh I have wet my pants laughing at myself alone before, like laughing hysterically. Okay, so yeah, here's my theory. Try it on. So whatever, well, most of us are 7 of diamonds, so I would have to say, have you had Jack of Hearts in your life a little bit more? Have you had children in your life a little bit more? Have you been working with inner child? Have you been looking at your relationships with women and how there's a Christ theme there? Either they're really there for you in a Christ-like way and there's all this love, or is there a little martyr thing, a little caretaking going on? So, since Rikara, if Rikara is still here, where you will use her as an example. So she's a King of Hearts with the Two of Hearts. She's a Cancer. So if the Two of Hearts is her, no, 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 we don't have to think about planetary ruler. Let's think about in the sign of, okay, what I would ask her would be, is your Venus card being activated during the entire sign of Taurus? And you can try this with your planetary rulers too. So Venus, look at your Venus card. So, for example, artist seer, since you're April 14th and you're no, it doesn't matter that you're in Aries. Yeah, you would just say, is my Jack of Hearts being activated this month? Or Ace of Spades. That's the ascension direction. But yeah, but for Rikara during Taurus, she would say, is my Six of Hearts being activated? Because that's her descending Venus. Her ascending Venus would be the 9 of Spades, which would be death, ending, culmination, completion, kind of a larger and more infinite perspective, kind of a transcendent contemplation. Yeah, it's just a general idea. It would make sense, wouldn't it? Oh my God. Well, there you go. Now, Michael Jackson is either a Jack of Hearts or I'll address that in a second. Yes, Ace of Spades. If you go to the right and up, you would end up at the Ace of Spades for a Venus card. But is Michael Jackson, was he the 10 of Hearts? Or is he the 10 of Hearts or the Jack of Hearts? I looked that up twice and I got to, have you ever had that? It's like a Mandela effect. You look up somebody's card, even someone that you know, not extremely well, but you look them up and you're positive that they're this card. And then the next time you talk to them, their birthday is different. I've had that happen 3 times. I'm like, you were the 8 of clubs last time we talked, and now you're the 4 of diamonds? What am I supposed to do with that? It's so weird. It was, oh my God, I bet it was so much fun. And whether or not he was the Jack or the 10 of Hearts, he really had that, the mystical child archetype. MJ. Oh, I knew what you meant immediately. Because there's a K in Jackson. I guess that my mind just went, oh, of course she means Michael Jackson. So anyway, let's try the Francis Bacon code. No, I'm not going to do it because you would do your whole name and that would take a hot minute. Yeah. So I've got a deck of cards here. I can throw cards for people because I don't know what else to say about the 7 of diamonds. Should I say something else about us since we're all here? Something I've learned about myself. I've always been really lucky with housing. And according to Robert Camp, that's because we have a king in our Uranus position. And the Uranus card always just kind of makes a statement about all of your living situations and how those are going to feel. And if you happen to have the 4 of Spades anywhere if you happen to have 4s anywhere, they're going to force you to find your own security. You'll have some massive moment of insecurity, and then you'll have to create security if you have a 4 somewhere. We only got the 4 of clubs in our as a reward. Sanity as a reward, right? Clarity and definition about what we think. Because like we're so open to like we've got 2 9s. Not only do we have 2 9s in our hand, but we're also the 9 of hearts, which has 9 of diamonds as Saturn. So we have all 4 9s. This notici. And we have all 4 7s. 7 of spades, 7 of diamonds, 7 of clubs, 7 of hearts. Yeah, all 4 7s, all 4 9s. Yikes! That says, yes, I want to grow this time around. Throw the shit at me. Throw it hard. Oh, you have moved many, many times. Now that's interesting. The cross section. Okay, here's the question though. Did you like your house? Did you like where you lived? And the Gemini rising. See, the rising sign, I think, is another planetary ruler, which would make the 5 of Spades one of your planetary rulers, which means you're seeking out a lot of change. Yeah, and 7s and 9s, even looking at the card. Where's my deck? I have all my things somewhere else. Because I just got back from Portland. And you know, I know that cities are cards in the deck because like they would have had an incorporation date or something like that. You always say, well, it's for the best. Look at you. Look at you being so optimistic. See, that's what's really cool about 7s too, is that even though our lives are going to be a shit show, there's no question, we're generally cheerful and optimistic. Isn't that sweet? I want to throw you guys a card. Just put your hand up and I'll write down your names and keep you in order. And it's good if you form a question in your mind And you don't have to, you've loved every crappy place you've ever lived. I have too. I've moved a lot and I've loved every place. There was one that was not so easy to love at first, but then miraculously, it was in the basement, but miraculously, right after we moved in, the landlord, who ended up being a very dear friend, a wonderful, amazing, it was a very amazing situation. He was a grower and he was a millennial, and here we are in our 50s living in his basement. We're like, oh my god, my husband's planetary ruler's the 9 of hearts, and we're like, we're such losers. But anyway, he put in these enormous windows, like they had to be egress windows, and um, four huge windows into the basement, and the main wall of our space was south facing, so it was flooded with sunlight. And being a Leo, I needed that. It made it a lot easier. So if you want me to pull a card for you, you can formulate a question and like not even tell me about it, or you can tell me what the question is, or you can not have a question at all and just say, what do my guides want to tell me is important for me to pay attention to? Okay, so it can be kind of fun. Um, what else can, okay, the nines. The nines, I've learned, are not about death or endings nearly as much. Okay, and they are about completing. Seven of Diamonds, you're going to complete a lot of contracts with a lot of partners, because the Two of Hearts in Saturn means that relationship is your classroom, but not just relationship, falling in love, infatuation. That one that's like, he's the one, I'm sure he's the one. I don't know about you guys, but I'm one of those Seven of Diamonds that thinks every single one was the one. There were like 17. And then I turned 44, and just before I turned 45, I met, I mean, I call him my twin flame, my soulmate, whatever. Now I'm just like, it's Stuart. It's just Stuart. We're stuck together. We're in what I call the karmic embrace. We have a Saturn Venus connection. What can I tell you? Yeah, a lot of contracts. And I remember I said to my guides one time, I was like, can I just be done being the scenery in someone else's painting? I want to be done with these shit karma relationships. And my guides are like, are you sure about that? I had another one of those today. And I was like, no, no, no. Let's go with the plan. I was in a good place when I made this decision. So I think I'm going to trust the plan. And it was like 2 relationships later, I was done. So when you turn 45, you get the 9 of hearts spread, and then that 2 of hearts isn't your Saturn anymore, the 9 of diamonds. There is an invitation to understand yourself as being capable of manifesting infinite abundance. Okay, it's not a loss of money, it's no definition of abundance. Nines mean it's infinite, there's no definition, it's the non-number number. So the 9 of clubs is infinite knowledge, the 9 of spades is infinite everything. Right? It's kind of esoteric, right? But the way I figured it out is 9 of spades is always looking for a larger and larger context to explain your reality. Yogananda was the 9 of spades. So it's like, just let that sink in, that access to the infinite. Yeah, at the time they are the one. Thank you, Miss Stell. Perfect. They are the one when they're the one. They're the one that you're doing. I'm doing this one. Literally and metaphorically. I think a lot of Seven of Diamonds, here's the third archetype. So I'm doing archetype work, the Carolyn Mace deck. It's such a hoot. I love it. We often have the jokester, the jester, the trickster because of that Jack. But he means well. But yes, if we're women, then we have that sharp-tongued Queen of Diamonds being an influence, which means there might be a cutting edge to our humor sometimes. Love the one. Oh, and isn't that the trick? It's all about, go watch my other video on my personal channel, Paula Kruger. Just look me up. You'll find it. It's just my name. But I did a video today about like triggers. I'm so triggered. And it's like, yeah, I got a master's degree in working through the trigger all the way to the healing of the inner child. Don't the 9s relate to consciousness? I like that. Yes, I'm sure they do. Oh, see, this is the value of coming into this community is like I've had these ideas kind of worn in the dirt for 30 years. This is what this card means. More like 20 years. Um, and then someone else comes in and goes, "Oh, well, that's this." And I'm like, "Oh, it opens up a world of insight." Yeah, I think they relate to consciousness partly because of what I just said, because we don't know how to really conceive of infinity, and yet we don't know how to conceive of an ending because we always ask, well, what happens after the ending? Which means we're more comfortable with infinity. But yes, I think to take in the concepts of infinity, we have to sort of expand our consciousness. I see that. I see the relationship. So I wish I knew your birthday, but I don't. This just pop up. This just pop up. Yeah, he's just turning on the water. Okay, so I'm going to draw a card for myself because nobody else wants one yet. Okay, so maybe we actually just do have two people here because nobody else has asked. Okay, I'm going to ask for a card for all three of us and something that we're all working on today and what our guides want to tell us in this little time of coming together. 10 of clubs. What does this mean to you? Now I can ask that and I'll get a coherent answer. What does this mean to you? So today I would say this card asks me the question, what do I know? What is a paradigm? A whole body of knowledge. Sharing airwaves. I like that. Sharing airwaves. Yeah, it's like it's a lot of knowledge, a lot of information. Since it's in the shape of the number 6, the mother, the pregnant belly, and the 9, the inflated head. Wow! Like here's a 9 and here's a 6. And look at this. I had a dream that I found my yin yang ring, and then I did yesterday. I'm like, I think I'll wear that. And that's like Cancer 69. There's a infinity about that. I think to me, it's like big paradigm. What do I know? And I did my download in my other channel today. I'm like, yes, I know how to go through a trigger. Doesn't mean it feels good or I'm like, perfect at it. But, oh, is your mom, is this somehow connected to your mom? Just had Mother's Day. That's why I was in Portland. It was so green. Oh, it was so healing. So Mistel. Okay. So I'm going to tune into your guides because this is for you and how you interpret this card, but it's also how I interpret it and how Miss 7 of Diamonds, artist seer, interprets it because that's the consciousness in the room. So I would say that this is, okay, Miss Dell, that is the coolest interpretation of a 10 that I have heard so far. And it's in motion, and I think of it as a torsion field, which is also in motion, but I think of it as a torsion field like a donut that's rotating like this, but it's also rotating like this at the same time. So it's like, woo! That's why it's like so busy. Yes, as above, so below. That's exactly how I think of it too. Yeah, it's a powerful card. So this too for you is about intimacy within the self. That's my interpretation of it. Like it is about falling in love. It's our experience as 7 of Diamonds, falling in love. And if it's Saturn, it means that we're going to get really good at it. That's an interesting thing. So I was with my daughter's boyfriend and he emanated such an incredibly powerful energy of silence and no persona, just authenticity. And it was like being with a Zen or a Buddhist teacher, which was really weird. And it threw me off at first because I couldn't get him to play with me and or laugh. But then he said, I work really hard at like, he used a term like non reactive presence or, silence or neutrality or being in that 0 point. He's like, I work really, really hard on that. And I was like, you emanate that. So in his mind, he's like, oh, I'm such a mess. I'm working so hard at this. And what other people get is that's Saturn, this mastery that we're working on. You're working and working and working. So yeah, there aren't many. I think like Mary Tyler Moore is when I studied famous people. That's a good way to start to get a handle on it. Also, if it's a planetary ruler of somebody, it's more likely to be a planetary ruler, like the Capricorn, January 20th, Seven of Diamonds. Anyway, there's a shadow energy that comes with the Two of Hearts, all twos. And I get this from the Enneagram. It's control. A psychic connection, yeah. Yeah, this is a reading we're doing for all of us. Feeling into the psychic intuitive connection when you're just really in sync with somebody. Because it's like when you're in love and you're in the grocery store, you're like, I've really been craving spaghetti, so maybe we should get some whole wheat noodles. But I really prefer the sauce that has mushrooms. And you're like, we're completing each other's sentences. Right. So there's a psychic connection there. And there's an odd, the semi-fixed energy of it with the Ace of Clubs. So what I've been thinking about that is that, and yeah, it's watery. It's so watery. And then the Ace of Clubs is air, the Buddhist I am, the cleanness of that, to get really clean with that energy. And it's interesting. I was doing the Two of Hearts, let's connect. And he was like putting out this Ace of Clubs energy. It's the flip side of the same coin, which in my mind is about, oh, that's too bad. Have you noticed that internet and phone connections and everything is so freaking glitchy today? It is so glitched out. And I'm like, what is going on? My guides are like, yeah, something actually is going on that's affecting that all over the world today. So yeah, Mistel might have left us, but anyway, yeah, Ace of Clubs, Two of Hearts it's Saturn is the invitation to really get to know yourself on a deep, deep level and ask about the I am presence. Who am I? And it's in the context of relationship that you're going to get to know yourself. That's another just esoteric teaching of that two and that ace. In the context of relationship, you come to know yourself. And it is in knowing yourself truly that you are capable of intimacy. It's all about differentiation. So anyway, I think that's all for today. It's been really sweet sharing this space with a couple of Seven of Diamonds today. And the weather is getting better, so maybe that's one reason people aren't here. But whoever's still here, this one viewer, here's a card for you. The Queen of Clubs. The card of intuition. The card of authority. It's like an inner authority of consciousness. I'm hearing the word truth. So there's a call to be really strong in your truth. That in your energy field, that's a really good avenue to feeling grounded, is to ask the question, what is my truth right now? So anyway, well, have a really wonderful rest of your day and happy Seven of Diamonds, and maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye.